the greatest weather, but actually while we were out, the weather was good. I just wrapped the 110-play scrimmage, a live tackle. Worked just about every situation except the goal line stuff. Worked red zone, third down, coming out, two minute a couple of times, and worked ones-on-ones, twos-on-twos, skated threes, and shot some as well. Darren Felix missed. He had the flu last night. That fever went up, so we held him out. But it allowed for an opportunity for a couple guys to get extensive carries, one being Cyrus. Cyrus really has had a heck of a spring, and he ran hard today between the tackles. Had some big runs, sort of Travis Dye. Early in the scrimmage, the defense, they took control, did a really nice job. Forced a couple of penalties, forced the offense to punt. And then as the scrimmage went on, then the offense started getting going, made some big plays. Josh Delgado, in particular, I got to point out, had a long touchdown pass and made a great block down in the red zone as well. Guys that continue to do well. Brendan Schooler continues to do well. Justin was really on point. We protected him better. Not as well in 2 minutes today like we wanted to, but overall just really sharp, great command of the offense. Kickers got extensive work. They were hot and cold. They've been a little bit better during the course of the week, but so overall great scrimmage, great edge pressure by both Kayvon Thibodeau, by Lamar Winston, by Adrian Jackson. You guys really brought some heat. Thought the linebackers played really well. Troy Dye played really well inside. Isaac continues to have a really good spring. Thomas Graham, another guy that sticks out. Gosh, it's like a whole game report if I keep going, so I'll stop there and just wait for questions.
How healthy are you guys going into, a game week here?
We're nicked up. I don't think we're injured. A couple guys had some, I wouldn't call them pulls, just some strains, some soft tissue stuff, and we will try to play everybody in the game. We want to make sure that, number one, we're back in Autzen Stadium, right? Okay, so it's clear. It's a really big deal. Our spring game in Autzen is a huge deal, and we want that place rocking. Another opportunity to showcase what we are. Certainly, we're not going to show everything we do, but we want to make sure our playmakers are on the field and put on a great show for our fans. We want the entire country to see what our stadium is like on game day, and certainly we have a lot of really important guests in town, and they need to see exactly what Autzen Stadium is like. So, but we will try to play everybody that can play.
You mentioned Cyrus. He's gotten quite a bit of reps with the first team throughout spring, with CJ being limited a bit. How much has this spring for him been about identifying beyond the goal line what he can do?
Exactly. Great point. We want to be an every down back, not just a short yardage back, and he has gotten his opportunities with the first team and second team offensive line, and he has shown not that he's capable, but he's more than capable, not only to make us a good offense, but to help us get even better. He's a big guy, but don't let the size fool you. He can put a foot in the ground and get vertical. He's improved his speed. He's an excellent blocker. He's a great all-around football player, so he's going to make us a better team.
What does the competition behind Justin look like right now?
Well, Tyler right now is head and shoulders above anybody. And Tyler, I know I've mentioned him a few times, and he deserves to be mentioned. The guy's got a really good command of the offense. He's playing well. Ball's out quick. It's on the money. He fixes. Sometimes he's relegated to playing with 3s and 4s because depending on how injured we are, some guys go in there. So he is like on point, fixing formations, make sure we're legal, making sure that guys understand cadence when we're changing the play. He's flopped the protection very effectively a couple times. Really impressed with Tyler Shuck.
So that last bit probably wasn't the best scrimmage for the offense from that perspective. You feel like they were maybe more motivated to come out and have a better shot this week?
Well, I think we're always going to be motivated. We're not going to have a lack of motivation. But I think execution was definitely better in some instances. And then in others, we still need some work on both sides of the ball. We have a pretty clear picture for our players how we stack up in conference statistically, where we've ranked well, where we've gotten better, and where we've regressed. And those are the things that we always attack. And today we did so. We went right at it. We want to limit explosive plays. We want to make explosive plays. And you saw a give and a take out there. And you've seen a give and a take all spring long. And that to us is extremely important to see. Because if there's not a give and a take, either one side's really good or another side is not doing really good at all. So far it's been pretty good.
Was CJ able to take part, and what have you wanted to see from him this spring, Mario? Just because we haven't seen a whole lot of him, and obviously coming off a great season, not a lot of questions to answer, but he's still a younger player. It's still his first season last year.
CJ's been full for at least 4 practices now. Now we only give him 75%, 80% of the reps because he did carry such a big load throughout the course of the year. He took a lot of shots. So he and Travis, I would say a guy like Brendan Schooler, sometimes we try to limit because their GPS numbers get so high. It's like putting one of these monitors on a cheetah. They just go, they log up a lot of mileage. But no, he's been full. He has had no issues.
You got mentions of guys that stood out. I assume that for like most improved, the guys who you mentioned Tyler as most improved. Is there a couple others that are other than the ones you mentioned, but probably not that
Johnny
surprising?
Johnson is a guy that really stands out. Brendan Schooler stands out at the receiver position. Red continues to get better.
Most improved, really?
Well, I say guys that are improved. I don't think we're ready to name a most improved person. I think Sampson New is really playing good football. So is Isaac Slade. Guys up front, Drayton Carlberg has always been a guy that's steadily progressing and getting better. Good to see a lot of those freshmen out there. Those guys are doing well. Thomas Graham is a guy that silently just takes care of his business, and he's just addicted to being a great football player. So he's always working on his craft. So is Diamador. So at the end of the spring, we get together as a staff and we try to name a guy or maybe two if it's that close, so that it's recognized, that it's praised. But overall, you just see a lot of guys improve, and haven't seen guys regress, which is important. You're not going to stay the same, but haven't seen a guy go backwards yet. The guys that are hurt, obviously, they're not part of the picture right now, but hopefully they will be soon.
And for Cam, I mean, just how long looking back, what's it like for him to be back out there with this team?
He's awesome. Cam is big and he's physical and he's got great hands. I know he had a big catch today and took a full speed shot, which was great. Popped right up. And, that's what you need sometimes, right? When you've been out so long and you haven't had full speed work to catch yourself a football and get downfield, and there's all that space between you and that safety. There's going to be a collision right there, and once you get that thing over with and pop up and say, all right, that's football. It's normal. He had that today, and big old smile on his face. So we know what a big part of the offense he is. He's a 260-pound guy that can run, that can catch, that can block. So happy to have him.
You've mentioned a lot of the linebackers, Mario. Adrian, Sampson, Isaac, obviously, on the side. When you're replacing two main guys there at linebacker and Hollins and Lana, what have you seen from them, not just today, but where's the spring to where they can step in and be starters?
Yeah, well, I think Ken Wilson is such a detailed teacher. He's a guy that has served as a coordinator before as well. So I think the way that he teaches, the eye discipline that's involved with our scheme has helped those guys just learn a lot and get better. I see guys playing aggressively. I see guys getting downhill. I see guys being able to, when you do that, you help your defensive line as well. You just can't sit there and double team those guys all day. But I think a guy like Sampson that hasn't played that much, when a guy like that takes such a massive jump in his play and his production, I think it's a tremendous credit to the player, to the coach that's helping him out as well. So, and I think guys that go unmentioned, but they're getting a lot of reps and getting good, are guys like G-Mon and guys like Drew Mathis, as well as Keith Sims. Sometimes we lose sight of Keith because he plays and does so well on special teams, but that guy does a good job. A really, really good job. He's played on the edge and he's played inside. In the spring, he's been mostly inside, but we're happy with their production.
What's Andy's philosophy? Is he putting in the whole defense this spring, or just like the basics? What's kind of his timetable?
Put a lot of it. Put a lot of it in, and we need to. And it's we can't slow down the offense to do so either. And that's the best part about what's being introduced. It's very conceptual, and so whenever you do that, guys can apply and overlap those concepts to other ones. And we've handled tempo. We've handled every situation. I think we've had one substitution error on each side of the ball in the couple times that we've been out. So it's been steady. It's been strong. It's an aggressive defense. The guys, they get after it. At the end we went just to slow it down a little bit. We had been in it to about 92, 94 plays. It's like, all right, so far we're injury free. Let's go home. Let's be happy tonight, right? Let's not get a report from my man Chief. Chief, you're not around here anywhere, are you? Okay, good. But we're still going to practice hard. Football is football, and I don't think you could ever. You have to be smart, right? When it's time to stay up, you stay up. But when it's time to tackle, you need to do so, and you need to do it in the same manner you're going to do it on game day. We train for that. We talk about it all the time. We don't shy away from the fact that, with football sometimes, unfortunately, there are some injuries, but if you practice smart and learn to practice smart, you can really reduce those. And our guys have. They've done a great job with that, but they also know that we can't compromise the physicality of it, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to win out.
Starting the line gets so much attention, because not deservedly so, for the amount of starters back. But the replacement process for them really starts now for the second and third teamers. The
Yeah, it started
progression
last
starts- Yeah. So what have you seen, especially with Jones has been with their points, Randazzo, other guys, obviously Brock, the starting group.
Yeah.
What have you seen from the second and third team lines?
They're really happy with the progress of a lot of guys. Guy I want to mention right away is Alex Forsythe. Alex has had a tremendous spring. And we've played him at guard, we've played him at center, we've played him at tackle. Versatile, smart, tough. He's a grinder. He's a guy that's going to fight to the finish no matter what, and he's been now in the system for a couple of years. His time is now. He's ready to play winning football for us. Salah, who got here in January, is a massive individual and a guy with a lot of pride in everything he does. Speed, power, explosiveness. He has all the tools, and he's getting more and more polished. We think he's going to be ready as well to be a guy that challenges for a job. Randazzo did play today, which is a huge step for a player. Part of our job is never, ever, ever put a player that's injured at risk. You can't ever do that. Now, a player that's nicked up and can play, that has to fight through some stuff, it's also part of our job to help him understand what that is. And Chris was a little bit nicked up, went through and played the entire way. Did a really good job, really developing as an interior player. He was a tackle in high school. He's been playing guard for us. He's down to 338 pounds. That sounds funny, doesn't it? Down to 338 pounds. And proud of the fact that he is taking pride. He's aggressively attacking the process. And I'm on Chris every single day. I tell him, brother, you better get aggressive, you better get nasty, and you better bring it. Because when you do that, you see the flashes of a guy that's going to be a really good football player. George Moore is pushing, and he's pushing at those positions hard. He's a guy that we feel can play tackle for us and push for a starting job as well. Ryan Walk never gets any credit, man, but walkie-talkie, he's a dependable dude, man. He's been out here for a couple of years now as a preferred walk-on, and him, like everybody else, is treated great and with fairness, and he's done a really solid job for us. Also, trying to think who else.
Jones was on there.
Jones did not go. We've held him out. We want to make sure that he does that he's ready to go. When he's ready, we're going to go full speed. Extremely talented guy. So, yeah, that process. You're right. It starts early because those guys take development. Those guys aren't. They go out there and run a couple of routes and catch the football. Micah Pittman got here like 7 hours ago, and he's been running with the twos and has had some reps with the ones. Same with Jawan. Both those guys got opportunities today. Josh Delgado got an opportunity today. I think the combination of those guys with the guys that are here, they're just pushing each other and getting better.
How's Juwan kind of settling in?
He's kind of seamless. He's a big guy. I think the more and more people get to know Juwan, you're going to find out he's as good of a person as he is a talented person. There's no nonsense about him. And I think he's very appreciative, as we are appreciative of him. And I think it's interesting, he has shared with the guys about what an awesome place this is. It's like, man, we do some things and some processes that, you guys have to understand. You gotta be thankful for it, because you guys really have a great place and a great situation. It all starts with that kitchen, man. You guys ever eat a meal in there? Man, that cedar plank salmon, woo, out of this world. So, we're blessed to have him. But it goes all those guys. Cam Lewis, he's battling out right now. He's doing a good job. But the list goes on, and those guys, it just, they haven't taken a single rep for granted, and it shows in the way they're attacking spring ball.
Coach, for a couple more, Kayvon used to drive 80 miles between home and Wesley, who's been through a lot. What's it kind of like to have him and just to kind of take him away from all that? As he said, it's kind of a way to get out from all that violence and just to be here. Kind of like, what's it to have a kid like that who's just already been through so much?
I think you all have seen in his interviews, this is a pretty special guy. Not only the way he plays and the way he presents himself and the way he speaks. He's a polished, articulate guy. He's beyond his years, but it's not the 5-star talent, it's the 5-star mentality and the 5-star effort and the 5-star approach. This guy is hungry and driven, okay? And those words mean a lot to the guys in this program. It's what we have to be at all times. And to see a guy do that as a freshman, and that's rare. A guy that can pick up a scheme like that, a guy that can go out there and make an impact after a couple of practices. No, he has exceeded expectations.
What are you expecting from a format perspective for next Saturday? Are we going to see a full game, or kind of what's the plan?
I think we'll see a full game. I think we'll see a full game. You know, if we have to, we'll dress up one of you guys and go out there and help us out. But we'll more than likely split the teams and have 2 teams. They like that. You know, they like that right there, and we do too. We want that to happen, and we want to make it extremely competitive. We want to get a chance to play in front of a big crowd. Right, that's always helpful, especially the young guys. I always felt that one of the biggest benefits of being a mid-year enrollee was that you get to, after all those plays you make in practice, you feel good about yourself, right? On an empty practice field, all of a sudden you walk in a stadium, you're like, whoa, this is real now. And to get those jitters out of you, I think it's a critical portion of their development process. So we're pretty excited about that.
You've got a week to go. You've got a lot of opponents who did have their spring game today, including your opener. When do you watch them, and how cognizant are you of them heavily watching you next week?
Oh, everyone has to be. I think we all know that college football is, everybody's watching everybody. Everybody has a friend somewhere. Everybody knows someone that's going to be nearby or there. So we know that, and so we just have to be really smart about the processes that we implement, like I'm sure everybody else out there does as well. So I think for us, in terms of when we start studying an opponent, this Sunday after